Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here today with Tova Leigh. She is a best-selling author and digital creator, and she is joining me today to talk about her book, You Did What? This is
Yeah.
an amazing collection of confessions, and I can't wait to hear more about it. Thank you, Tova, for being here.
No, thank you so much for having me.
So tell us where you are right now.
So I'm actually at the moment in London, in the UK, in London.
Okay.
Um,
I
yeah,
love London. I'm
in
so
gray,
jealous.
gray old London. Where are you based, by the
I'm
way?
out
Where
of
are you?
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. Okay.
Yeah.
I visited Chicago for the first time just before coronavirus,
Oh,
actually.
gosh.
No, I was there for just a couple of days, but I did a show. So I didn't see much, but from what I did see, it was very nice. It was very pretty.
Yeah, I love it here. And I love London. I was there on my honeymoon, so I want to go back someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, anyways, let's talk about this book. Tell us how it came about.
So you did what is, as you said, a collection of confessions and also stories from mainly women from around the world. And I had been sharing confessions, other people's confessions, and my own confessions for years, actually, on social media. I used to do this thing every Friday night called Pajama Party and Confessions, where basically I would go live on Facebook. People would send in confessions in advance. And I would just read them in my while sitting in my bed, sometimes with a glass of wine,
Yes.
um, with two glasses of wine, and sometimes with guests. And it was just lots of fun. And the reason I did that was because my kids were very young at the time, and we weren't going out on a Friday night so much. And I just thought there must be other parents out there who would like to sort of like hang out on a Friday night and have a party feel without leaving the house because they don't have a babysitter or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of how it started. But the confessions were sort of a byproduct of that,
Hmm.
but soon became the main course, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that because I had a daughter that was young at one time too, and we didn't do much. We didn't go out. So social media was a savior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It was a combination of men and women. Although very quickly I realized that women were more happy to send in confessions. So the
Yeah.
guys kind of didn't really send in confessions so much, but they were very happy to listen.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's kind of how it started. And I was doing that for a few years. And I just thought at some point, this needs to be a book. Like I need to do a confessions book because people love confessions. We
Yes.
love hearing other people's secrets. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's a fly on a wall. Like, you hear the things that people don't share.
That you put it into a book so I can enjoy it and read it and go back to some of them when I'm feeling like, oh, I need a good laugh.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so tell me how you decided on the sections. They're funny. The bodily fluids gets me every time.
Yeah, so the book is divided into sections. There is a section dedicated to parenting,
Mhm.
which has a lot of parenting hacks, a lot of kind of oops moments, things that parents do and don't tell anyone. And it really does range from, lying to the kids about snacks or the ice cream van or the tooth fairy to, oh my God, I accidentally dropped my baby and didn't tell anyone.
Oh,
But like a little thing. The baby's fine. Everything's
yes.
fine.
Yeah.
And so like little things that happen in our journey of parenting. And the reason there were so many parenting confessions was because historically it was a lot of parents who were following me because a lot of my content was very much motherhood and parenting related. And then the second section is of course sex and relationships. Those confessions just kind of started rolling in. So Pajama Party initially was just parents and talking a lot about parenting, and then suddenly it became about vibrators. Yeah, and just it just took off. Like it was like, woo, you couldn't stop it. And then suddenly we started getting confessions about poop
Yeah.
and strange places where people poop, and sort of very bizarre stories about getting caught out without, I'm not even going to get into it.
Yeah.
I call it the gross section of the book, which
Yeah.
I recommend people read not while eating.
No. No.
But it's very funny. And then the last section, I have to say those three sections of the book were very obvious to me.
Yeah.
But then the last section, I debated. There was a lot of other kind of areas that, I got confessions throughout the years. But in the end, I decided to dedicate the last section to revenge stories, and also combined it within the office, because a lot of the times the revenge stories had to do with workplace, because of nasty bosses and work colleagues that you don't like. So it kind of like went hand in hand.
Yeah.
And people are very creative with their with their revenge.
Well, it's a good thing the book is anonymous confessions.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Although, every section obviously starts with a forward for me. And in that intro to each section, I obviously confess things within that category. So I always feel like it's really unfair because everybody else got to be anonymous.
Oh, you could throw some in there, though, that were yours.
Maybe I did.
Yeah. So were you nervous to publish this book?
No, not at all. Like, do you think I should have been?
Well, no, I don't know. I mean, confessions are, they're private. I mean, and you actually put your name on some of them. So you nervous about that being in print?
No, I think what I was more nervous about, if I'm being honest, is when you ask people to send in confessions, you don't know what they're going to send.
True.
And that made me more nervous because I was like, God, what if I read something that I'm not gonna like at all, like that, and not just like not like. I was actually scared that I'd get stuff that's just like, I have to call the police now and report this person. Like, how do I handle this? I really, really was worried to be placed in that type of position. But I'm happy to say, despite the fact that I've literally been reading confessions since 2015. That has not happened.
That's wonderful. God. That is so good to hear, because I would have been nervous about that too.
Yeah. But I guess people, exactly. Thank God my followers are exactly. So that was my only worry. Apart from that, no, I was very happy that people got behind it. I think the main thing that we discovered through Pajama Party is that sharing secrets actually gave people a lot of relief. I didn't think there would be any depth in it. Like, I thought it would just be funny and fun, end of story. But what sort of happened was that you'd get a reaction from, like, you'd get a lot of confessions saying, I want to be anonymous. I can't believe I'm saying this. God, this is something no one knows. And then they say the confession. And then you get people in the comments going, wow, I thought I was the only one. Like, this is great. Like, thank you for sharing this, because actually it made me feel really better about myself. And that sort of suddenly started happening more and more. And I was usually sharing the funny stuff, but every time I also wanted to share like more serious confessions and, a bit more, tricky things. And actually, we used to do a competition, like people used to vote. Sometimes there were prizes, and people would sort of really get behind actually, those more kind of trickier confessions. And because at the end of the day, I think it's really hard to be vulnerable. Actually, it's quite rare.
Yes.
So when people put themselves out there and they say the things that are a bit, make you feel uncomfortable, or you're not quite sure, we like that, because it just, it puts everybody at ease somehow,
Exactly. So, we're more alike than we think.
Totally. Very.
So how has the reader reactions been to the book?
So really good. You know, the book hasn't been out for that long. Obviously, it came out in September, and I did a few shows,
Yeah.
which were off the back of the book. So I went on tour, I did a few shows here in the UK, where I also tell some stories and confessions, not the same ones in the book. And, you know, the reaction in person is always the best because people obviously got the book before or during the show and were able to kind of really come up to me. And it's really funny because it creates an environment that people will come up and they'll just immediately tell you something very personal, you know, about their life. You know, they'll immediately come up and say, you know, I've been wanting to leave my husband for a very long time, or I've been having an affair for a very long time, or whatever. Like they'll immediately come in their share. It just puts everybody in that kind of, you know, state that they can just say anything.
Yeah.
So I think overall the reaction has been really good, I think. And I'm excited to see, you know, where it goes from here. You know, I have some ideas of how I can adapt this into potential other formats. Because obviously I'm a digital creator and my passion is video and my passion is, you know, that kind of medium. So, you know, I have all kinds of ideas of what maybe we can do with the idea of real life confessions. So it's exciting.
There's a lot that can come out of this. I can't wait to see what you end up with.
Yeah.
So talk about this tour. Were you like on stage? How did that go? Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I trained to be an actress like a gazillion years ago, you know, like honestly. And it's something I really put behind me, but I've always loved performing on stage. And just before the pandemic, I was telling you before we started recording, I went to America and I did a one-woman show, but it was a different show. And then when this book came out, I felt it was so amazing meeting people in person. I loved it. And I was so lucky that I got to do that before the world shut down. So I was really keen to do that again, but I couldn't do it to the same extent because I'm still a bit worried about traveling far and I've got young kids and it's just not really realistic for me at the moment. So we did four or five shows here in the UK. Which were great fun. And I'm hoping to do a few more, but not this side of Christmas, like in the new year. And it's really a shame. Like, I really want to create a show to be able, for my, you know, international community to be able to see it as well. So during the pandemic, we actually did a few online shows and they went really well. It's not the same, obviously, but it's better than nothing. Yeah. So I might do a couple of those as well, just to allow people in America, Australia, you know, other areas in Europe, to sort of see it, because I think it's a really fun show. Actually, I think it's really fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. I would love to see it.
Yeah.
And I hope someday you'll come back to Chicago again.
I really want to. I loved Chicago. It was fun. It was a short visit, but it was really nice.
Good. Okay. And I'll look you up when I go to London.
Yeah. When did you come to London? You said it was for your honeymoon. When was that?
Oh gosh, back in 2011. So
right.
10 years. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Time for another visit.
It is. It is. So what do you want readers to take away from your book?
I actually think you said it, you know, it's that we are much more similar than we think. Yeah. That is absolutely the overriding idea of it. And also anybody who reads any confession in there and they think, well, that was a one-off. It's not, because I selected confessions that really represented other confessions that were very similar. Like it's something that was common, you know, because we are more similar than we think. And it blew my mind every time. I did not include people's names in the book, but what I did want to include were countries where they were based, because I thought it was very interesting to see that despite differences in culture or background and even age, because age is also in the book, we have like such similarities, you know, that you wouldn't imagine. Like you think, well, people maybe raise children differently, or I don't know, but we all have the same secrets, basically.
Yes, we do. So you talked a little bit about like doing something more with the book, but what are you doing right now? Are you still doing the pajama parties? What are you doing?
I haven't done pajama party in a long time, and actually, my community is very upset with me. So
Oh no.
I really have to. But it was such a big commitment. I was doing that every Friday night for years.
Yeah.
I couldn't really sustain it at some point. But I will definitely go back to doing it, probably on a more kind of sporadic kind of basis. So that's definitely something I want to get back to. And at the moment, I came back from the tour and I just thought I'm going to just stop for a minute and take my time to enjoy, the achievements that I've had actually in the last few months. I don't think I allow myself to do that very often at all. So this is a new thing for me, which I'm actually feeling really great about and quite proud of myself going, no, stop, enjoy. You just wrote a book and
Yes.
you've just done a tour.
Yes.
Good job. You don't
I
have to start something new, right?
I think that's really common because I don't stop very often either to celebrate something. I just
Really?
I go on to the next thing, but it's very
Yeah,
important to
yeah.
celebrate.
But I never do that. Like
Yeah.
I never do that. And as I was coming back from the tour, I was already going, okay, we've got this and we're going to do that. It was like 3 projects I was going to start in November. I mean, the year ends in December. Who starts 3 projects in November? That I just thought, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to do that. Everything can wait. So what am I doing at the moment? I am enjoying, the a bit slow, just a little bit slower.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Good. So, will you write another book?
I hope so. I hope so. I hope I get a chance to write another book. I think that if I were going to write another book, what I would love to do is is try my hand at fiction because, I've done 2 books now. The first one was a bit of a memoir, and the second one was obviously a collection of confessions. But my real passion, obviously, is in storytelling. And I feel like I have told my story a million times.
Yeah.
And I am so bored of myself. And I am so ready to write about much more exciting characters than myself.
Oh.
So I really hope that happens. I really hope that I get to do that.
I hope you do too, because I'll read it.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
Thank
sure
you
a
so
lot of people would love to read a fiction book from you because you're hilarious.
much. I hope so.
All right, so back to You Did What? So where can readers find this book?
So You Did What is available worldwide. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on my website, tovaleigh.com. My publisher is Watkins. That's another place to get it. And it's basically in all major bookstores. So anywhere online.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It was so fun.
It was. Thank you very much for having me.